Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks very much, Rosaline, and yeah, very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Rosaline, for the invitation, and thank you for a sterling job that you and your team have done. Absolutely fantastic, and really appreciate the welcome and the invitation to share a bit of a patient journey. So, I started a company, a not-for-profit company called Hereditary Amyloidosis Canada in 2018, and the reason for that was that in Canada when I was diagnosed in 2015, there was no support for us. There was support for AL amyloidosis, and that was great, but unfortunately ATTR was not really that well known. And so when you're diagnosed at first, you feel very much almost like one man out on an island, because there's nobody that knows about it at that time. And you get this diagnosis and you're told that you've got 15 months, maybe to 3 years, and that's really tops, but more than likely it's 15 months you have. And that was thanks to our friend Dr. Google, because Dr. Google was the place to go then, because there was nothing else out there. So when you read that diagnosis... Sorry if I interrupt you. Thanks, Giovanni. So when you go there, it's like going down a rabbit hole. You just don't know where to go, what to do. So let me start kind of at the beginning when this all started. All these symptoms were very vague. It was a little bit of tingling in my fingers, and I started losing a lot of weight. And I would go to my GP and she would say, "Oh, that's a virus. I had that last week. It'll last for a couple of weeks." And she reckoned that was a cause of the severe diarrhea that I was experiencing and the weight loss. Then she would say to me, and I mean, it's no fault of hers, that it was perhaps environmentally, this was why this was happening. And at that time, just to support what Rosaline said, I never spoke up for myself, because the doctor, in my opinion, is God, and they know better than me, and what do I know? I'm just I'm just a patient. So I never questioned any of that. However, she was very good in terms of, I was saying I was lightheaded. She sent me for EKGs, this, that, and the other. And all of these results came back, and they were all pretty normal. I was told there was a little bit of a missed beat and I had a little murmur in my heart, but don't worry about that. That's quite normal. Lots of people have that. It's one of those things. Anyway, the one day I happened to be going back to see her for blood work results. And that particular day, my blood pressure went to about, it was 70/36. She called an ambulance, because then she realised there was something really wacky going on. And that was the beginning of getting to a point where I was on the road to some kind of diagnosis. We had a little bit of explanation for at least that part of things. The cardiologist that, unfortunately, that I was under at that time was adamant that what happened to me was only because of the severe high blood pressure that I had, and that was causing the problems that I had. So I was prescribed beta blockers, and as most of the audience knows, that if you're on a beta blocker, and especially when the doses are being increased, your blood pressure kind of goes down a little bit more and down a little bit more. I didn't know that that was happening and that was the cause of it, because I thought, well, that's what I've been told to do, and this will make me better. So I was told to just stick with it and don't worry about it. Let's up the dose another little bit. Anyway, I wasn't seeing this cardiologist for a couple of months. This was about a year into this. So I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to cut this back a little bit and see what happens. But slowly, I didn't cut it out, but just very slowly. Started feeling a little bit better. Didn't feel great, but felt a little bit better than I had been feeling on the beta blockers. And when I went back to him, he told me that I was suicidal, doing something like that. That was really, really, really silly. In between that time, I'd gone to see, I had a referral to another cardiologist who was going to do a cardiac biopsy. So I explained that to this particular gentleman, and I was told the last time he did one of those, a patient died on the table. And did I really want to do this? And I said, yeah, I do. I said, because I want to know what the hell's going on with me. Because this is now, it's been going on since 2010, 2011. We're now 2014, 15. And eventually I got the diagnosis. I had cardiac amyloidosis. I asked, what is this? And he said, he kind of shrugged his shoulders. I says, now what do I do? He says, well, there's nothing we can do. You can palliative care. In 2015, that really meant you had very little time. So I went home and did what a lot of people perhaps would do. You go through this roller coaster of emotions. You feel sorry for yourself. You're angry. Why me? Why did this have to happen? What do I do? And this fear of you're affecting everybody in the family. How do I explain it to my brothers and sisters? Because I want them to find out if they've got it so that they can at least deal with it. If that diagnosis affects your financial situation, it affects your mental health situation. But when I came out of the roller coaster, I basically came to a crossroads. I can either feel sorry for myself for the rest of whatever life I had left, or I can do something about it. And I decided I want to do something about it and turn this into a positive experience. And hence, Hereditary Amyloidosis Canada was one of the things that I founded. My mission, in terms of what we do, in terms of how we approach things, is we're there to support our patients, educate, create awareness, and we do that one step at a time by creating different materials, being in touch with cardiologists, neurologists, and gastroenterologists. So I'm very, very fortunate to have built a really good network of people within Canada. And I must say that we have a great collaboration in Canada with regards to the pharmaceutical company. The companies are amazing to us. The doctors, specialists, we're so very, very fortunate that I've got people I can lean on in different parts of Canada so that I can refer patients when they call and they're at this horrible crossroads where they know there's something really wrong, but they can't get appointments. And sometimes we've managed to shortcut that journey. And if we shortcut the journey for anyone, I'm really happy today because, as we all know, an early diagnosis is the key to a good prognosis. And I must say, I feel very honoured to be able to touch those people and be in touch with those patients and caregivers. It's such an honour, and it keeps me going. Patients think when they speak to me, and I help them a little bit with either getting access to medication or different specialists, they thank me, but I thank them because they can help me. They often help me when I'm in one of those crappy days. And in terms of that, I always say to people today, we're not alone. You're never alone. You feel like it at first. But once you make that first contact and reach out to someone else, the rest is history. You then feel part. And amyloidosis, internationally, we're just like one huge family. As Giovanni said, it's just, I mean, the Alliance is a fantastic organisation to belong to. and we all help each other along the way. So I feel very honoured, very privileged to be able to have done what I've done over the last little while. And I want to keep on trucking. And it's well past 18 months. And I'm still here, and I ain't pushing up daisies, and it's not going to happen. There's too much damage to do still. And on that note, I shall love and leave you. But thank you very much, everyone, for your attention. Stay tuned.